Hi everybody, this is Bonnie Barker with Bonnie Bay Crochet, and today I want to show you how to make the Celtic Weave hot pad or pot holder. These are great for the kitchen. They work up very quickly, so you could probably make one of these, I'm guessing, in under 3 hours, especially if you are familiar with the stitches that I'm going to show you. And this has two different sides to it that are joined together with the knurl stitch or the reverse single crochet, and these are very versatile. You can put them in the washer, put them in the dryer, and like I said, if you're looking for a last minute gift giving idea, this might be something that you can just pull yarn from your stash and work it up and be ready to go. Well, let me show you what you're going to need. For this project, I'm recommending that you use a worsted weight size 100% cotton yarn, and the yarn that I'm using was originally from Peaches and Cream, and there are many other brands out there that should be fine. Some of them may come on a spool, or they may come as a small ball of yarn from your local yarn store. So any of these should be absolutely fine. I'm also recommending that you have a size 8 or 5.00 millimeter crochet hook, and as always, a yarn needle and a pair of sharp scissors. To begin, we're going to start with a slip knot, just like so. And yes, this yarn is a bit stiffer. And we're going to crochet a chain of 26 chains. Now to begin row 1, after we've completed that chain of 26 chains, we're going to start in the 4th chain from hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to work a double crochet in that chain and in each chain all the way across the row. At the end of this row, you should have a total of 23 double crochets, which does not include the chain 3 at the beginning of the row. This is what you should have after completing row 1. Now we are going to turn, and we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we are going to skip the first stitch, and the next stitch we are going to work a front post double crochet where you work the stitch around this body of the stitch instead of through the top loops. So that is a front post double crochet. Now we are going to begin the Celtic weave. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and in that 3rd stitch we are going to work a front post treble crochet. And then we do that again by wrapping the hook twice, and we're going to wrap it around the next stitch. So we work 2 of those in a row. Now working in front of these last 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in this stitch and then in this stitch by working again the hook around the body of the stitch. And we're going to do that across the row. Skip the next 2 stitches, front post treble in the next 2 stitches, now working in front of the last 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 2 stitches that we just skipped. Okay, let's take a pause. So you formed these crosses, and each of these have 4 stitches in them. Okay, so I'm going to do this a couple more times. Skip the next 2 stitches, front post treble in the next 2 stitches. That's 1, and 2, and again working in front of these 2 stitches, front post treble crochet in those 2 stitches that we just skipped. Okay, so we have worked 3 sets of these. Go ahead and work 2 more sets, and I will show you how the row ends. Now that I have 5 sets of these Celtic weave crosses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is time for us to work that last stitch, which will be a front post, double crochet, and then in the turning chain, we're going to work a double crochet there as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. Okay, now we're ready to begin row number 3. And we'll begin that with a chain 2, and then we're going to work a back post double crochet in that first stitch. After that first back post double crochet, we are going to work back post trebles in the next 2 stitches. And this is only with the back side facing that you begin working the Celtic weave in this manner. Okay, so after we have done that, now we're going to go back to skipping the next 2 stitches, and the next 2 stitches, which are going to be leaning in this direction on the other side, they're on the surface. We're going to work 2 back post treble crochets. And yes, this cotton is definitely on the stiff side, but this is going to be wonderful for the kitchen. It will last a long, long time. After working those 2 back post trebles, now we're going to work in front of these as seen from the front side, and I will show you what we're going to do. So we're going to cross in front of those stitches, and the 2 stitches that are remaining here, these are the 2 that we skipped. We're going to work back post treble crochets in those 2 stitches. That's 1. And the next one, again, I'm crossing in front as seen from the back, or seen from the front side. Since we have the back side facing, this can be a little tricky. Okay, so I've worked them. This is what the back side looks like this. When we flip it around, it looks like this. I have crossed them in front of these 2 stitches when looking from the front side, and that is the front side. Okay, I know the language is a little bit cumbersome when it comes to this stitch, but once you understand it, it shouldn't be an issue. Now we'll do this again. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches. We're going to back post treble in the next 2 stitches. It's 1 and 2. Now working in front of these 2 stitches as seen from the front side, I'm going to bring our hook around, and we're going to work a back post treble in this stitch. This is the first of the stitches that we skipped. Oops, let's make sure I don't lose that stitch. There we go. And then the second one as well. We come in right back here and work that second back post treble crochet. And we're going to work this all the way across the row. If this is the first time that you are seeing this stitch, definitely check the video description below. I will have some videos, additional videos on the Celtic weave that you can check out should you need more visuals for this stitch. But I will show you one more time. Skip the next 2 stitches, back post treble in the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2. Then working in front of these stitches as seen from the front side, we're going to work a back post treble crochet over those 2 stitches that we just skipped. 1, and just so that you can see where the other stitch is. And again, I'm coming in front of those last 2 stitches that we just crocheted. Okay, so now I have done 1, 2, 3 sets of these. Notice that we have 1 fewer than with the front side facing, and I'll explain that in just a second. And then for the last one, skip the next 2, back post treble crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, there we go. Got to get the yarn and fingers to cooperate together. If this is your first time working this stitch, you may want to actually practice with some other yarn that's not quite as stiff as this cotton. Now working in front of those last 2 stitches as seen from the front side, we're going to back post treble in those 2 stitches that we just skipped. Coming in. That is the last set. So now we have 4 sets of the 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and not 5. Well, remember the first half of the 5th one, we worked as 2 back post double crochets, or treble crochets rather, right off the bat. Well, now that we come to the end of the row, we still have 2 stitches remaining, and we're just going to work 2 back post treble crochets in those 2 stitches. So we haven't changed our stitch count. It's just that one has not been crossed, and I will explain that in just a second. Go ahead and work that last back post double crochet and a double crochet worked into that turning chain. Let's turn and let me explain to you what's happened here. In order to keep these stitches continually woven, you do run out of room here. So this one is going to curve around and then come back in and be woven as we go. And so same with this one here. It's going to come up and around. So we still have the same number of stitches. It's just that these 2 stitches and these 2 stitches aren't crossed, but these 4 are. So with the front side facing, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of crosses. With the back side, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you do have the 5th one, but half of it is here and half of it is on this side. I hope that's not too confusing, but once you work a few more rows, I think you'll understand it a little bit better. Okay, so now for row number 4, let's go ahead and chain 2, front post, double crochet in that first end stitch. Now we get back to crossing the cables again. So we skip the next 2 stitches and we just work front post treble in the next 2 stitches. Working in front of those last 2 stitches, we front post treble in the 2 stitches that we skipped. And of course, with the front side facing, it's much, much easier to see what we're actually working on. So I'm going to do that for you one more time. Skip the next 2 stitches, which are behind here, and then front post treble in the next 2 stitches. Working in front of these last 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 2 stitches that we skipped. Now these, you need to have a couple fingers here to hunt for these. So they are hidden behind these stitches. So make sure that we don't forget these. And if you do forget them, I promise you the pattern will be disrupted. You'll probably notice this right away. And then the other one. And I am using the nerve endings in my thumb and tall man finger here to find these and to make sure that my hook has selected the correct stitches. Okay, so let's do that again. Skip these 2 stitches, and they are going to be hiding behind these 2 stitches here. So skip these 2. If you look at the top stitches, you can see those V's, 1, 2, and then front post treble in the next 2 stitches. Working in front of these 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 2 stitches that we just skipped. The first one being right here, and the next one right here. Let's go ahead and take a pause. So we have 3 sets, 1, 2, 3 of those Celtic weave crosses. Go ahead and complete the next 2, and I will show you the end of this row. At the end of the row, we're going to work a front post double crochet in that end stitch, and then another double crochet in the turning chain. And this ends row number 4. Now I have a small assignment for you. I want you to repeat rows 3, that would be with the back side facing, and 4, a total of 3 more times. So repeat rows 3 and 4, 3 and 4, 3 and 4. If you need stitch support to see exactly how I did that, I will put a little time mark across the bottom so that you can go back to row number 3 and watch 3 and 4 again. So remember, we're going to be working 6 more rows. That would be rows 3 and 4 repeated 3 more times. This is what you should have after working those repeats, and you should have a total now of 10 rows. And let me show you also a quick way of counting how many rows. You can always count on the edge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 this way, but you can also count down here. So you have row 1, and then the first cross, that's 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by just counting on the crosses as you go back and forth. Okay, so now for row number 11, we're going to turn, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work back post double crochets all the way across. So we work that first back post double crochet that we've been working all along, and then in each stitch across, just back post double crochets. So go ahead and work those. Make sure that you have 4 of these over each of the crossed sections as you go across with this Celtic weave. So go ahead and work those back post double crochets all the way across, and I'll show you the end of the row. So after working all the way across, we've worked that half double crochet in the turning chain. Let's go ahead and chain 1 and turn, and we are now going to begin the perimeter round. We're going to skip the first stitch, and we're going to start in the next stitch, and we're going to work single crochets in each stitch all the way across the row. At the end of this section of the perimeter round, you should have 22 single crochets across the row. After working those single crochets across the row, we're going to turn 90 degrees. We're going to chain 2, and we are going to work 23 single crochets evenly along the row end, starting with that first single crochet in the same place as where the last single crochet was crocheted. All right, so go ahead and work 23 single crochets evenly along the side. I've completed working 23 single crochets evenly along the side. An easy way to do this is if you just work 2 single crochets in each row end, you should end up with that number. After we do that, we're going to turn 90 degrees, chain 2 for the next corner, and go ahead and work 22 single crochets evenly across. I would start in the next stitch over just like this. So we're not working it in the same place as the last single crochet, but in the next stitch over, and go ahead and work 22 single crochets along the end. After working those 22 single crochets along the end, I am not going to work in the last stitch, but turn, chain 2, and working along the row ends, go ahead and work 23 stitches evenly. And again, by working 2 single crochets in each row end plus the 1 at the end, that should give you the right multiple. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this last side of our perimeter round. So after working those 23 stitches across the last edge, notice that I did work the last stitch in the first row up here, and go ahead and give it a chain 2, slip stitch in that very first single crochet of the round, and give it a chain and a tug, and we're going to go ahead and fasten off. Okay, just like this. Let's take a look at what we have. To begin, we're going to make our slip knot. This is for the back side of the pot holder, hot pad. and we're going to chain 24 chains. After working those 24 chains, we're going to work row 1 by working single crochets in each stitch across, or in each chain across. At the end of this row, you should have a total of 23 single crochets. After working those stitches all the way across the row, you should have 23 single crochets. Now we're going to work 21 additional rows in the same way. We're going to chain 1, and working through both of the loops, we're going to work single crochets in each stitch all the way across. We are not working in the turning chain for this row, just in the 23 single crochets. So go ahead and work 21 additional rows, just working those single crochets in each stitch across. This is what you should have after completing a total of 22 rows of single crochet. Now we're going to turn to work along the end of the rows. We're going to chain 1, and we are going to work a single crochet in each row end, just like this. And go ahead and work 1 single crochet in each row end all the way until you get to the corner. You should have a total of 22 stitches worked across the row ends. Now we're going to chain 2. We're going to turn 90 degrees and go ahead and work a single crochet in the same place where the last stitch was worked. And in each stitch across, you're going to be working across the foundation chain, and all you need to do is stick your hook right there. You can see where those other two strands of the back side of that single crochet was formed, and just single crochet in each of these all the way across. So after working across that foundation chain, you should have a total of 23 single crochets from the first corner all the way into the next. After working across that foundation chain, we're going to chain 2, single crochet in that same space where the last single crochet was worked, and go ahead and single crochet in each row end across, and you should have a total of 22 single crochets once you complete this side, and then I will show you how to join at the end of this row. After working those all the way across, we're going to chain 2, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the last row that was worked, a part of the square. Okay, so go ahead and do that and give it another chain and a tug, and go ahead and clip a generous strand just like that. Okay, so now the back side is ready to be joined to the front side. Now we're getting ready to join. This will be the back side. Go ahead and notice that the stitches are going across. Go ahead and turn them so that they are vertical, and then flip it so that the back side is facing the back side of this single crochet. And this should be the row that has 22 stitches, and this should be the row up and down that has the 23 stitches across. And we're going to put the front side facing like this. Again, you have the front side stitches here and the front side of the single crochet. So this way, when you flip it, you see the front side of the single crochet. I personally think that's the, there we go, get the camera to focus, that is the more attractive side of this stitch in this particular design. Okay, so now we're ready to join, and we can join in any corner. And just to be extra clear, this is the side with the 23 single crochets, and down here and up here you'll have 22. It's very important that you join them this way. That way they will hopefully go together flawlessly. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and join these with the knurl stitch. I've gone ahead and put my hook into the chain 2 corner here, and this is the section, the one place on the square, but there was no chain 2 corner. I just put it into that slip stitch section. The rest of these should have chain 2 corners. So let's go ahead and get that slip knot ready for my chain. Okay, and we're going to make a chain 1. So we are joined. So now this is going to be working in the opposite direction from left to right. I'm going to put the hook into the first 2 loops of the, let me go ahead and do that again for you, into the first 2 loops of that next stitch and into the first loops on the other. And then we're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. This is a reverse single crochet. Go into the next stitch, to the front loops of both pieces, pull loop through, yarn over, and there you go. See how I'm going through all 4 stitches, or 4 loops rather, the stitch here and the stitch here, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. I am not trying to manipulate these strands in any way. This can be a little bit of a stinker of a stitch if you have never done it before, so definitely give yourselves some time, but stick the hook in, pull the yarn through, yarn over, and pull through 2. It's one of these stitches you don't need to think too much about. If you think too much about it, you start to try to control the strands, and I think that's when trouble begins. So put your, again, in through those 4 strands, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, in through both layers. Let's do that again. And the stiffness of the yarn actually is going to be a benefit here for this particular stitch. It'll keep the stitch, I believe, from getting too unwieldy or too loose. Okay, so putting the hook under both stitches, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And I will put a stitch video in the video description below should you want to look at this. But although it may be done in a different manner, I am going through 4 loops, and yeah, so I probably will omit that. All right, so go ahead and work this all the way, and I'll show you what to do once you get to the corners. Once you get to the chain 2 corner, we're just going to treat that as another stitch by putting our hook into both of the chain 2 spaces, yarn over, and then work that reverse single crochet or that knurl stitch, and then continue along the next side by putting our hook in both of those stitches of both squares, and then continuing on across and around the entire square. So go ahead and finish working that around, then I will show you the join. After working the knurl stitch all the way around, I'm going to end by working the last as a reverse slip stitch, and then go ahead and give it a chain and a tug, and end that very tightly, and go ahead and clip a generous strand so I can show you how to hide this. Well, let's take a look at what we have. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish this well. I'm going to go ahead, I do have a couple of strands to hide, but I'm going to just show you how to hide one of them using my yarn needle. Go ahead and thread the needle. This is why you need to leave a decent sized strand so that this will be easy. So go ahead, and I would definitely do this on the back side, and you can run it under a couple of these stitches. And since we're using color changing yarn, you know, you might want to just stick with, you know, running it under the colors that are very similar, which is easy to do in this case. If you're using a solid color, then obviously that's not as much of an issue. Okay, so I'm going to just run it under those number of stitches, and I think that should hold it adequately. And I'm going to find my sharp scissors, here they are, and clip the strand close, but not too close because you don't want to hurt your strand. So now I just have one more strand or so to hide. I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. Well, I hope you enjoyed making the Celtic Weave hot pad or pot holder with me today. I would love to hear from you if you did, or if you have any questions, just comment in the comment section below. God bless. Bye-bye.